All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, in this one, I wanted to ask a question coming off of this just flat out gross game. The game was just gross, right? 10-9 to the Denver Broncos. And we talked a lot about it in the recap video, obviously, but I'm still fuming from this game, man. I really am. I mean, watching the Saleh press conference after just got me more heated. It's just disgusting football, right? To watch a team like this, and there's a lot of Jets fans that are upset, they're sad, they're angry, they're pissed about this loss, and rightfully so. It would be one thing if we were shooting for, or maybe projected to be one of those teams that's finishing with a top 3 pick. No, this team is expected to make a playoff run. Internally, they're thinking Super Bowl championship. But of course, right, we're 2-2. We're not 0-8 or anything, god awful like that. We're still in the first quarter of the season, right? And it's pretty damn apparent that if we figure out some of these these issues that we're causing ourselves, we would be in more games. We would give ourselves more chances to actually put up points and win football games. My Lord, I'm so tired of seeing and talking about this fact in all these recap videos dating back to last year in 2022, how many times the Jets are penalized. It would be one thing if they're all, holdings or, that's a BS roughing the passer, that's a BS pass interference. Okay, it is what it is. It's happening in the middle of the play. But the stuff that, the false starts, guys just lining up off sides, the personal fouls, right? Like Irv Charles, hitting the guy out, trying to make a fair catch on special teams. The Lazard taunt, even though I didn't necessarily agree with it, that's still 15 yards. Right between those two plays, that's 30 free yards handed over to the Denver Broncos. Just seeing stuff like that is just tough. Seeing wide receivers, like, not even turn for the football. Like, there's confusion there. This is week freaking 4. This is not the second week of preseason. This is not our second joint practice with the Carolina Panthers. Week 4 of the regular season, we're having confusion issues. It's just been a tough pill to swallow. And you're coming away from this game, and again, we're 500 on the year, 2-2. It's not the end of the world. It's just tough to win when you put yourself in situations like that, and then you factor on top of it that you have extra days to prepare. And Saleh addressed this in the press conference, saying it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think if we were to ask Andy Reid, if we were to ask Sean McDermott, if we were to ask, Dan Campbell, right? Take your pick on any of these teams that actually have a strong established culture. If having extra days to prepare for a team, like a mini bye week, in other words, is important, or if it's just the same old, right? By that logic, right? If it's not important, then playing on a short week isn't important. Maybe as far as like players' health is concerned, it's important, but from a game planning perspective, according to this logic, maybe it's probably not. So it's just stuff like that, right? So again, you're factoring in all the in-game penalties and mishaps and whatnot. Then you're looking at like just how the team comes out of the gate. We open up the game with a 3-play fumble turnover on downs. The next 3 drives were 3-and-out punts. The next 3 drives, so 4 straight drives with 3-and-outs. Drive number 5, we have a field goal, which I'll gladly take the points and take the lead, but we should have really had a touchdown there. Why? Because we had 1st and goal from, I want to say, the Broncos 1-yard line or 2-yard line, and we can't punch it in. And we go for it on 4th down. We get the penalty, so now we're pushed back. Now the field goal unit comes out. Of course, hindsight's 2020, and I don't want to break down every single moment of the game here. But it's just like, man, when you're looking back at a 10-9 football game, there's certain moments, there's certain statistics that just jump off the screen. They jump off the page at you, and it's super frustrating. It's super disheartening. And again, going back to Jets fans. Weather was bad. Tickets are expensive. You're going to the game. You're spending, a weekend day that you could be doing anything else. You're going to this football game, and you're watching a team with all of these different upgrades making the same mistakes as last season with the penalties and game planning and play calls. Just watching like Rodgers pick himself up off of the turf, and he's like limping around, like struggling to move, was just like I felt gutted. Trying to throw a pass on 3rd and 1, just hand the ball to Braylon Allen. I'm not a coach. I'm not smarter than Nathaniel Hackett. I'm not sitting here, saying that I am. And it is 2020. I am talking about this post game. But still, these are things that I'm screaming about during the game itself. And it's just so frustrating. So the question, right, the point of this video, where do you stand with this coaching staff? Where do you stand with the staff? It's not year 2, not year 1. You know what I mean? Robert Saleh is 20-34 as a head coach. And Joe Douglas is 29-57. 29 wins, 57 losses. We've pretty much, exhausted every single excuse, right? From Saleh saying that, the team hardly had any talent when, they both took over, to we got to roll with a rookie quarterback. Year 2, same young quarterback still learning his way. The team ends up firing Mike LaFleur. They bring in, according to the team, their top choice in Nathaniel Hackett. Doesn't work, last season. Oh, Aaron Rodgers goes down. Another excuse there. And now we're in 2024 with just immense pressure on the organization. Now, quickly, I do want to say, is the season over? No, absolutely not. Could the Jets go out there and beat the Minnesota Vikings? 1,000%. I'll sit there and say, yeah, we can. In London, I think the Jets could win. But the point is, if the Jets look like how they did against Denver, they're not going to win the game. If we go out there against the Vikings, against the following teams we play, Buffalo Bills, Pittsburgh Steelers, if we roll out this performance against those 3 teams, we're 0. That's 3 straight losses. We're 2-5. So that's why, to me at least, it's relevant to talk about now while we're 500, because it's important to iron out the issues. And watching the Aaron Rodgers press conference, it was I think he does a good job of just calming everybody down, calming the reporter, all the questions that, hey, it is what it is. It's one game, and we'll get things turned around. He does have that confidence. Why? Because he's been there and done that. He's one of the best to ever do it. So I have a ton of faith in Aaron Rodgers, but I would be lying if I said I would have concerns about maybe game planning for a playoff game, right? If it comes down to coaching and it's Jets Chiefs in the playoffs, Jets Bills in the playoffs, take your pick of all of these great coaches in the AFC. Do you personally have faith in Hackett, in Keith Carter, in Downing, in Ulbrich, in Saleh, in Boyer, to be able to outcoach or at least get out of the way in a massive game like that? Could these guys go out there and get the leg up on Andy Reid and whatnot? A Jim Harbaugh, a John Harbaugh, a Zach Taylor. There are some really, really good coaches in football. And when you watch a team, look, it would be totally, totally different if the Jets looked, the Jets lost the game against the Broncos, but it was like Bulldogs Crimson Tide the other day, right? Where it's, one team comes out firing on all cylinders, then you get this massive, storm back from the other team, and you end up losing the game. Or it's a shootout, or it's a tightly contested defensive matchup, and the defenses are just boom, they're just so good, and that's why the opposing offenses aren't moving. But it's not like that. It's just bad play call, penalty, going backwards here, going backwards there, incompletion, missing an open guy, a fumble, stuff bad, just questionable decision moments where you're scratching your head. I mean, and the same could be said for the Broncos offense. I mean, it's not like they were all that great. Bo Nix had freaking negative passing yards at halftime, and end of the day with 60 passing yards. So it's again, I think it would be a lot different if, as fans, we were watching this team and saying, hey, you know what? We took the loss, but it was hard fought. We fought tooth and nail, and you know what? The Broncos just barely made it out of MetLife Stadium with the victory. But instead, we're taking deep breaths and sighing after games, thinking, all right, we just left a lot of points on the board. If it wasn't for that stupid mistake, if it wasn't for that, take your pick on whatever it is, blown assignment on the offensive line, poor play call, wide receiver not turning around, again, take your pick. maybe a personnel decision. If it wasn't for that, we would be in the end zone. It was never, oh man, great protection, great throw, great catch, but then it was jarred loose from a fantastic play from a corner. It would feel different, in my opinion. It would feel different. So again, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I don't really feel it as though it's time to panic. A lot of football left, and Aaron Rodgers is the absolute master of just taking a franchise, putting him on his back, and saying, "This is my team. I'm taking it to the playoffs," and just playing lights out when it matters most. So until the Jets are mathematically eliminated, I'm not giving up on the team. Absolutely not. Not going to be doing that whatsoever. But I do think it's relevant to talk about the issues, to get to voice them, right? To put them out there, and to, of course, same for you guys, to talk about these things. So we're not 2-4, and it's just everybody's freaking out, panicking. It's like it's better to just try to figure out solutions to these problems ahead of time while we're 2-2, while it's still fresh on our mind, as opposed to, and same could be said with wins. I mean, we talked about it against the Patriots, talked about it against specifically the Titans. If Will Levis didn't just completely give the game away, would that stat line look a little bit differently? I think you can make an argument. Yeah, you know what? If Levis didn't just have these weird moments, right? These weird turnovers, maybe the Titans would have won the game. I think it's really important to identify what is not working with this team and what has got to be addressed moving forward. For me, just the main problem is game planning and play calling. For me, that's my two. To me, I could go out and I could see Garrett Wilson having a bounce back game on Sunday, right? I could see Breece Hall rushing for 80 yards and having 2 touchdowns, right? Having 40 receiving yards, having a great overall day. I could see Gardner maybe getting better at tackling, or the safeties playing a little bit better. But it's the Nathaniel Hackett offensive coaching staff standpoint where that's where I'm just stumped. Where I'm just I just don't know if we're gonna be able to, prepare for. Because it's one thing to prepare for a team that is projected to finish in the bottom 5. It's another to prepare for, one of these teams that are just lights out, to where if you start committing penalties, they're not going to beat themselves. The great teams never beat themselves. But I feel as though, the New York Jets, we just, in our losses, it's never just this close, man, that was a fantastic game. And you can, walk out of the stadium thinking, you know what, it sucks we lost. I would much rather have the win. But this is a damn good football team, as opposed to, just walking out thinking, man, we left 14 points on the board. We left 17 points on the board. We should have won this, just leaving a lot left to be desired. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.